Welcome back. Well, I did tell you it was a packed show today, and now we're switching over to Nigeria's oil and gas industry. We see the sector remains a cornerstone of the economy, but as global energy dynamics shift, the demand for highly skilled, tech-savvy professionals has never been greater. And bridging the gap between classroom learning and real-world application is now critical, not just for employability, but for to ensure Nigeria's workforce can compete globally. Joining us to unpack this conversation now, we have Professor Eucharia Oluchi, which is a board member, Triple Helix Nigeria. We have Dr. David Memena, the Secretary General, Oil and Gas Trainers Association of Nigeria. And we have Dr. David from Abuja studio, and Professor Eucharia joining us via Zoom. It's great to have you both on the show. Good morning. All right, let me start with Professor Eucharia now. It's great to have you on the show. Talk to me about the importance, of introducing, students to real-world engineering tools, during their years of training, because, the schools are churning out a lot of people now into the labor market, but, most of the time, some don't seem to have the kind of experience you would expect them, to have. So, Professor Eucharia, help us, break down the importance of this.
Thank you so much for having me, Dari. It's absolutely very critical to prepare the students early because we're preparing them for a future, for an industry that is already running on advanced tools like the surface engineering petroleum life cycle, which we call the SEPA. So exposing them early beyond the chalk and board or the marker and board is something that gives them two important skills: confidence and, again, competence before they step into the workplace, which we're preparing them for. So I want you also to think of it like aviation. No one trains a pilot without simulators. So SEPA for us in this context is like the simulators for petroleum engineers. It allows students to practice real-time well and reservoir management with the real-world scenarios. And that way, the students on graduation are not just theory-ready, but they are industry-ready. So you can see from the deduction that early exposure to this software, to advanced platforms like SEPA, would transform the students that we're training today from being passive learners into real problem solvers in the industry, and then can hit the ground running.
Right, because, we're seeing a lot of improvements now in Nigeria's oil and gas industry, more barrels, coming out of the ground. So we need most of our graduates to actually understand that, trying to get into that industry. But let me come to you now, Dr. David Memena. From your perspective, how can early exposure to technology shape the quality of future oil and gas professionals in the country?
Ogtan, Oil and Gas Association of Nigeria, is a bridge between the university and the industry, right? Ogtan has over 400 member companies that offer different trainings, different areas of trainings in the oil and gas. So if you're looking at building the capacity of those that are coming out from the university, Ogtan is a bridge that builds that capacity and get them ready for the oil and gas. So if we're looking at the future, right, for those that are in the university, if they don't have access to this technology, the oil and gas industry is driven on technology, is driven on quality, is driven on safety, is driven on standard. So if we don't expose these young graduates or young professionals that are going to be graduating from the university into this knowing of or knowledge about what these skills and technology changes that are happening in the industry, if you don't expose them to those innovations, you're going to be having issues. By the time they come out of the universities, it'll be difficult for them to be able to walk into the industry and start working. So what we do is that we're looking at Ogtan and Triple Helix coming together and saying, okay, we're building this system. We want a situation whereby that collaboration between the university and the industry Ogtan bridge that collaboration. The young professionals are exposed to early technologies, so as they're coming out from the university, they are readily available to come into the industries and start working. So all of these are some of the things that we're looking at, because we understand that in the late 90s, early 2000s, some of the technology advancement we have right now, we don't have them at that time. So it was easy at that time. But right now, technology have advanced a lot. So we must be able to get them to understand that if you can be able to function very well, if you're coming in as a subsea engineer, for example, or as a petroleum engineer, for example, you must have access to this technology, have access to these tools, have access to this software, so that by the time you finish your 4 years or 5 years degree course, it's easy for you to get into the industry and start working immediately without having to wait for a longer time to go through some other form of trainings and all of that. So those are some of the things that we're looking at, and we see that it will be very important and very good for the universities and the students to have access to this technology early, so that it's easy and for them to come in and function very well.
Right, and definitely getting in early is very, very important. But let me take it to Professor Ikeria now. What kind of practical skills do you think students need most, to be industry ready? And, how can initiatives like this tech, help bridge that gap?
Hey there, thanks for that question again. The most important skill set we think now that the students need would be integration, would be data-driven decision-making, would be problem solving. What do we mean by integration? We mean breaking silos, connecting data, connecting disciplines, connecting institutions, connecting solution delivery that works in the real world. Yeah, that's what we want to see. In petroleum engineering, it means, therefore, that we're able to connect using the SEPAL, the reservoir engineering, connecting the petroleum economies, connecting the production technology into one coherent solution. And SEPAL is that first end-to-end in all the spectrum platform that allows exactly that to happen. Our partnership with Ogtan and Triple Helix and Ogtan and Cypher Crescent is very deliberate. Why do I say that? Because in Triple Helix Nigeria, we exist to integrate knowledge institutions, industry, and government in ways that accelerate innovation, that builds human capacity, and drive socioeconomic development. And on the other hand, the Ogtan has the mandate of standardization, of coordination, of promoting training in the petroleum industry or in the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. Then if you put side by side, Triple Helix Nigeria is mobilizing the academic and innovation ecosystem. The Ogtan is setting the training standards to achieve excellence. And then Cypher Crescent is providing world-class technology like the SEPAL for students. No single stakeholder can bridge this identified gap between the industry and knowledge institutions. Right. So put together, we can deliver a complete pipeline from classroom to the industry. So it aligns again very well with our vision 10, 10, 10, 10, which is the quadruple 10. What does it mean for us? We want to see knowledge institutions, 10 of them at least, to hold at least 10% equity in 10 listed companies when in the next 10 years. That is bold and transformational, because
quite a bold
for that
one
to happen, we want to see students leave school, not just as people who are employable, but then people who are capable of creating value that can be scaled and value that can be owned by the creators. Okay. So SEPAL Students Edition, is that very stepping stone to making that vision real for us. So you can see that this true partnership with Triple Helix and Ogtan, where Cypher Crescent is delivering the technology, we are not just training students. We are equipping knowledge institutions to create and own value that they are creating in the energy economy.
Fantastic. Yeah, you guys are very, very busy. And definitely we hope you train as much more youths there coming into the oil and gas industry so that we can get more barrels out of the ground and develop more. But we've run out of time at this time. But thank you so much for coming on, Professor Ikeria Oluchi-Nwaichi is a board member, Triple Helix Nigeria, and Dr. David Ememena in Abuja studio, Secretary General, Oil and Gas Trainers Association of Nigeria. Thank you both for coming on today.